Good morning, everyone. Wow, what a great group on today. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Today is a magnificent day for living, sharing, and being alive. And today, is Success Mentorship Class number 403. Wow. And our topic for today is one that I think it's the perfect topic for the perfect time. And our topic for today is the new you blueprint. Now, that's an interesting topic, and we chose it because we're at the end of the year, and it's really the new you blueprint. And the subtopic is 4 steps to transform your life in 2025. 4 steps to transform your life in 2025. Now, the interesting thing about this, you say, well, why would I want to transform my life in 2025? Because where you end 2025 is where you begin 2026. And so many of us have come to the end of the year, and now we have about, let's see, I think we have 47 days left in the year. And there's that desire to say, you know what, let me get myself in order. Let me organize my desk. Let me get ready for next year. So that I'll start next year with a blast. Well, that's a lot like, when we do our daily method of operation, when you don't make your plans the night before, you lose 2 hours the next day. And not only that, you don't get a chance to take advantage of your subconscious mind working for you to help you accomplish the things of the next day. So when we start thinking about this year, these next 47 days are critical because it is in these next 47 days that you can establish the rhythm and the harmony and the system and the intention to create success in 2025 so that you'll be absolutely ready to roll in 2026. So before we get started, I see we have a lot of people on Instagram and a lot of people on YouTube. And let me just welcome you. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, author of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. I, of course, always invite you to visit our website, www.herbertharris.com, and to learn more about what we do at the Life Skill Institute and as a part of the Success Mentorship Class. So let us prepare for our meditation. Let's sit straight up in our seats. Close our outer eyes. Open our inner eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, we affirm, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Let that peace sink in. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Once more, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. So it is. This day, this 47 days before the end of the year, is a special time because so many of us have that sense that there's something that we need to do differently. There's a new perspective. There's something we need to have a new thought about our finances, about our health, about some of our habits, about some of our relationships. And when we start thinking about that, we say, what do I have to do to change some of the things about myself to put me in a position to achieve my dreams, to live my dreams, to experience the life that I want? Well, there's certain thoughts that are foundational about this approach now. When we say New You Blueprint, 4 steps to transform your life in 2025, is the number one, that change is intentional. You don't just happen upon change. Change is something you have to make up your mind, your intention that I'm going to get it done, that I need to make this change. I'm committed to transform these parts of my life, my thoughts, my habits, my emotions, my relationships, to create a new vibration for myself. Transformation follows a pattern. That once you can get into a rhythm, and that's why the blueprint is so important. The blueprint you lay out in 2025 becomes the structure you build in 2026. I'm going to say that again. The blueprint you lay out and put in place in 2025 will be the structure you live in 2026. So transformation follows a pattern, and success has a formula. So you must be intentional about changing. You must understand the patterns and follow the formulas for success. So this idea of a blueprint for success is a 4-step framework that will help you design the new you in 2025, so that when you roll into 2026, you'll have clarity, you'll have confidence, you'll have power. It's practical and it's spiritual and it's scientifically based. Okay. So when we think about this, say, well, what are the steps that I must follow to transform my life in 2025? And what's the mindset? Well, number one, to realize that the only time that you actually have is now. And so anything that does not involve now, does not involve taking action now, is an illusion. And so we say, well, what do I need to do to take action now so that I can create the new me in 2025, and so that the person who goes into this new year is a different person, is a different person with a different mindset, with a different emotional foundation, with different habits, and definitely with different relationships. And so step one, I like to call it face the facts. Tell the truth about who you are. Tell the truth about where you are. Every architect begins with a survey of the land. You know, I'm in North Carolina, and this is like the building capital of the world. They just built 7,000 homes down by the waterfront. I'm about 7 miles from the ocean and a mile from the river. They've just built 7,000 homes over there, and then up the river a piece, they built another 3,000 homes. But every architect begins with a survey of the land. And if you look at how they build a development, you may come by and you'll see trees. Well, they'll survey that land and they'll determine what trees they have to take down, what roots they have to pull up. They'll get a complete survey of the land so they know what they're dealing with. So before you can build anything, you must understand the terrain. Life works the same way. Many people who want to transform themselves avoid the mirror. Okay? They avoid the mirror because they don't want to look at their faults. They don't want to look at their debt. They don't want to acknowledge the habits that undermine them. They don't want to admit the gap between the potential that they have and the performance that they demonstrate. And so this idea of step one and face the facts, if we can't get past this, if you can't be honest with yourself, I know for me, I've been going through a real transformation. It took me 80 years to figure out why. You know, there's something that says there are two dates that are very, very critical. And I think one date is when you were born, and the other date is the day you understand why you were born. And I know for me, I've been a lawyer, a scientist, you name it, but a network marketer. And for many years, I thought that the goal of network marketing was to make money. And so over the years, we've made millions, and we've helped a lot of people. I know that there are at least 25 people that we can say we've helped them make $1 million, become millionaires. But after 80 years, it dawned on me that was not the goal. I was looking at the cars in front of the house and all that. The goal was freedom. The things that you enjoy most, the freedom to do the things that you love doing. And trust me, the things that you love doing, you'll get good at. And so it was not about all the other things. It was about the freedom. And the moment that was, understood, then it was a different dynamic. So it wasn't about making money to buy stuff. It wasn't about making money to go places. It was about making money to give yourself ownership of your time. You know, there's always that deal we make. You know, we trade time for dollars. Well, the whole idea of entrepreneurship is to get out of that mindset so that you now have the time is available to do what you want to do and to live your purpose and do the things that you were put here to do. And so this idea of facing the facts is that critical moment when your life begins to rise. The moment you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, these are my shortcomings. This is where I'm at right now. These are the thoughts that I need to change. You know, I've been thinking thoughts of lack and limitation. These are the emotions I need to change. I've been living a life being afraid of rejection. I've been living a life where I don't want to look bad. You know, someone once said that one of the things that people hate doing, they don't mind losing, but they don't like to look bad when they lose. And so once you start looking at these things, and you're evaluating your results, you're like, why are you late for so many events? Why do you procrastinate? Why are you always looking for stuff? Why do you always seem disorganized? In other words, this idea of looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself is powerful. It's like taking off all your clothes and like, I guess I'm a little overweight. Okay. I need to go to the gym. So this point of revelation is powerful because, trust me, here's the truth. You can't heal what you don't face. You can't change what you don't name. And then the biggie is this. If you don't fix it, it'll stay broken. And so this step one of being completely, brutally honest with yourself is the foundation for the change that you want to create to bring about the person you want to be. So when we take this inventory, your finances, are you living on next week's paycheck? Your health. Are you serious about your weight? Are you serious about your blood pressure? Do you open your desk and there's 20 medications in the drawer that you're taking every day? Your habits. Is everything next week? I'm going to do it. I'm going to get around to it. Your relationships. Are you surrounded by people who don't believe in you? Who do you want to be surrounded with? And so this idea of this assessment, this idea of facing the facts, gives you the power now to say, okay, this is who I am. So I can now move from confusion to clarity. I can now stop drifting and start directing. If you can start doing that now, then you'll finish this year in a very, very powerful fashion. So Take stock of who you are, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you want to do, what you won't do anymore, things that you need to do extra so that you'll know exactly who you are. When you stand in that mirror, you say, okay, this is what I have to work with. Step 2 is to make the life changes necessary for success. Once you know where you're at, what's working and what's not working, then to make the life changes, and I like to call it setting the sails. We often think that success is external. Success is internal. Once you know where you are, who you are, then you can decide on the direction you want to go. But at this point, it's important to recognize that there are certain thoughts. A sailor once said that a storm doesn't sink a ship. He said, your sails sink the ship. So what do you mean? He said, when the winds change direction, a good sailor doesn't complain. They adjust the set of the sails. He repositions. He lets go of what no longer works. And so now that you've done this assessment, it's now to set the sails. What are the things that you need to get rid of now? What are the things you need to replace so that you can now move to the next step? This is a powerful step, because as you begin to create this framework in which to operate, this attitude. So now when you see what used to be called a problem, you take the attitude, now it's a challenge. So it is not that you solve it or you don't solve it. You take the attitude that you will always grow through it. You take the idea that whenever there's a situation that may cause worry, for example, that you have a process now. Hey, most of the things you worry about will never happen. You think about Job, and Job said, the things I fear have come upon me. So don't even think about the negative outcomes. Focus on the positive. When you can change this mindset, set these sails, create this new identity. Sometimes setting the sails may mean that you have to release an outdated identity. I know for me, when I finally got to the point where it wasn't about making money to own stuff, it was about having money to free yourself to do who you are, to enjoy the things you want to be, do, and have. This idea of setting the sails, maybe let's get rid of an unhealthy habit. Maybe you're a drinker or a smoker, whatever, but get rid of unhealthy habits, to make a commitment to optimum health, so that over these next 47 days, you'll establish a rhythm now for optimum health, so that next year you can operate with optimum efficiency. Create some new boundaries. You know, when we live our lives, we teach people how to treat us. And so as we want to move into this next phase, this new you, we may have to establish some new boundaries, let people know this is okay, this is not okay. Of course, you want to surround yourself now with people who love you, who believe in you, who uplift you. And replace that negative self-talk. Ooh, 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 ooh. You know, the things we tell ourselves either dig a hole or build a stair step. We can either tell ourselves, as Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, or you can tell yourself, I never accomplish anything. Whichever one you tell yourself, that's what you operate on. But the point is that even science supports this. You know, I was reading about the neural pathways, and it says that whatever thoughts you repeat can really begin to create new pathways, new vibrations that attract into your life the very things that those thoughts express. So this setting the sails for change literally programs you now to create a new vibration to move into the third stage. The third stage is now define clear goals. Design the destination. If there was such a thing as a success GPS, you know, we have every car has a GPS. Now they're built in the car. Well, a success GPS is just like a car GPS. It requires two coordinates, where you are and where you want to go. And so Now that you've assessed where you are, now that you've set the sails for where you want to go, it's clear now that you actually have to define that clearly. A life without goals is just drifting like a ship without a rudder. A life without goals is like having the most expensive car with a full tank of gas and nowhere to go. You may move, but you never arrive. A ship without a rudder is just carried along by the river of time. So it gets somewhere. You always get to a destination, but the idea of a new you blueprint is you choose the destination that you want to go to. Goals give a structure to your imagination. If you don't have a goal, then your imagination just really, it's hard to imagine if you don't have an object of that imagination. So if you want to live a certain way, it may be a physical goal. I want to have a home. I want to have a farm. I want whatever it is. You can see it in your imagination. If you don't have a goal, then you can't see it. The goals give direction to desire. If we think about the boat that is your life on the river of time, your rudder is your value system, your engine is your desire. But if you have no destination, the engine can run all day and you never get anywhere. You just run, you just move, you just go in circles. There was a student, and it happened to me. A student said, Dr. Harris, I want to be successful. And I asked him, I said, well, what does success look like to you? And there was a long pause because he didn't have a vision of what success looked like to him. He had not thought beyond the feeling. So those of you who are listening today and who are listening in the future, what is your promised land? You know, scripturally, if you notice, and this is not about religion, but spiritual principles, there must always be a promised land. There must always be a destination. And in the scripture, it says, walk the width and breadth of the promised land. When Moses sent the young men, Joshua and the other young men out to survey this unknown land, this promised land, he said, walk the width and breadth of it. See who's there, what it looks like, the plants. And that's the same thing with your goals. If you don't have a vision of your goals, a detailed vision, you can't get there. I'm going to take back to the personal. One of my coaches was asking me in network mile, he was like, well, Doctor, what's your goal? I said, well, I want to make $1 million a year. That's $84,000 a month. I calculated it all the way down. That's X amount of dollars a week, blah, blah, blah. He said, why not make $1 million a month? And when he said that, there was this pause because I did not have a vision of what my life would be like making $1 million a month. So each and every one of you here today, whatever it is that you want to be, do, and have, you must have a vision of it. You must see it. You must see yourself in it. You must see each and every detail of the thing that you want to be, do, and have. So we often have dreams, but no destination. We have the feeling of success, but not the process of success. Most people want better, but they don't define exactly and specifically what that means. They want change, but they can't describe and tell you, well, I want to be this way, that way, or the other way. They want progress, but they have not chosen a direction. Progress to where? So as we close out this year over these next 47 days, let's define our goals for these next 47 days. Say, well, why not? I say this, there's got to be at least one thing that's really, really important to you that will make a big difference in your life, that will set the foundation for next year so that you can build on it and resonate. So we need goals right now that are specific enough to measure. so that you can say, every day I have 47 days. This is what I'm going to do each day. This is what I'm going to accomplish each week. Goals that are meaningful enough to motivate you. It can't be something that's not important. It's got to be something that's really, really important. And you remember I set my weight goals. My goal is 172. At that time, I was right around 190. I got to 177 and got stuck. I had to make a definite intention to get beyond that. So now I'm right there at 175. But those 2 pounds were like very powerful. I had to really see myself and get a feeling for how I was going to feel, why it was important to lose this weight from a diabetes point of view, from a blood pressure point of view. And then I could do it. Your goals must be aligned. Don't just pick a goal because I say, pick a goal, Addie, pick a goal. No, it must be aligned with what you're about, with your purpose, your true nature. And it must be visible enough to focus your mind on. So when we finish today, look at these next 47 days. Believe me, they say you can create a habit in 21 days. So you got 2 21-day cycles and a little bit more. Over these next 47 days, you can create a framework, a mindset, and an operational system that when you apply it will transform your life like never before. When you write your goals, you activate that excuse me, that reticular activating system. In other words, it's something about having goals that stimulate your internal radar, that internal vibration that starts to interact with the entire universe to make it work on your behalf. Suddenly opportunities show up. Suddenly doors open. Suddenly people call. When you're on the right path, it's amazing. I guarantee you that you'll be amazed at how things happen so quickly the moment you become clear. Design your destiny based on your purpose. Step 4, commit to action. The scripture says, faith without works is dead. It says, whatever you find to do, do it with all your might. Action is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. I'm going to say that again. Action is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. Action is where transformation becomes visible. Action is the great separator. Many people have the ideas and all the wherewithal, but they never get off the porch. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has desires. Everybody wants a better life, but only those who take daily action will taste that fruit. Only those who take daily action will say at the end of the day, wow, how sweet it is. Every spiritual discipline teaches that. Every scientific model teaches that. Behavioral science, that if you act, you will get results. If you act with intention, you get desired results. There was a fellow who wanted a new life. He was overweight, high blood pressure, all these kind of things. And his doctor told him and warned him what was the outcome if he continued the way he was, and said, you need to get more exercise. So one day he walked 1 block. Next day he walked 2 blocks, and then 3, and then 5, and then a mile. 2 years later, he'd lost over 100, excuse me, over 100 pounds. Literally reversed the diagnosis. Everything the doctor said was wrong was no longer an issue. And he said, well, what made the difference? You know, did you take the weight loss drugs? He said, no. He said, I just kept walking. I just didn't stop. And so that's the whole point, folks, that once you've gotten clear about where you are and your attitude and set your goals, then you just got to keep walking. Just don't stop. The power of manifestation is based on consistent action. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence creates results, and results create transformation. So, every step you take, every call you make, every page you write, every hour that you're focused on your goals moves you from intention to reality. Wow. So let's wrap up today. You have the ability over these next 47 days to transform your life from what it is to what you want it to be. A lady once said, Dr. Harris, I feel like I've lived the same year 5 times in a row. And that's why I wanted to do this message today. Because when we look at these next 47 days, if we don't do something different, we'll get the same thing we got last year. We'll be at the same point we were the year before. She says, 5 years seems like I keep repeating myself. And I thought about it and I said, well, the reason is because you have the same habits. You have the same thoughts, the same fears. There was a fellow who was looking for a promotion. He told his boss they were promoting people around him. He said, I've been here 25 years. I got tons of experience. Why are other people getting promoted? He said, no. You have 1 year of experience 25 times. In other words, he never grew. He never learned. He never expanded. And I think that's one of those challenges that when we have challenges before us, people, whether you call them problems or disappointments, each one of these is for you to grow through. And so over these next 47 days, when you set out to accomplish a particular objective, there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, but as you grow through them, you build your strength and you create the vibration to make it happen. So wrapping it up, over these next 47 days, starting today, face the facts. Face the facts of the truth about you, your thinking, your emotions, your habits, your relationships. Set your sails. Change your thinking, change your emotions, change your habits, change your relationships to prepare you for that which you desire. Define your destination. Be very clear about your promised land. Your promised land is personal to you, congruent with your purpose, and to commit yourself to action. Do whatever it takes, for as long as it takes to get where you want to go. If this message resonates with you, and I think it should, then I think you're ready for the next step. I want to invite you to what we call the New You for the New Year webinar coming up on December 13th. I'm going to put information in it, and if you're listening abroad on the internet, you can find more information at www.successlessons.net, successlessons.net. But those of you who are really serious about making this happen, to start right away, getting it done, but to also look at this thought, that if you have guidance, if you have assistance, if you have people around you who are going in the same direction, what an incredible experience. So be sure to go to that website. And those who get started today, I'm going to give a special code. You just remember this code, New You. Check it out, successlessons.net. And the special code, New You. Let me close out with a reading from the 12 Universal Laws of Success. And I think it sets us up for where we want to go. Start each day with a positive mental attitude. Visualize and focus on your goals. Carefully make your plans. Write them down in great detail. List the things that must be done each day, when they must be done to accomplish your goals. Use every hour of every day to execute your plans effectively to produce desired results. And at the end of each day, ask yourself the daily question: did I do everything I could today to make tomorrow the way I want it to be? When you can answer the daily question in the absolute affirmative, yes, I did everything I could with what I have to do it with, then you're well on your way to manifesting the blueprint for your life and creating the dreams that you deserve, that you desire, and that are congruent with your purpose. Knowing that you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. So it is.